Self-discipline is the invisible force that separates those who achieve greatness from those who drift through life, reacting to circumstances rather than creating them. It is the inner structure, the internal command center, that determines whether a person will follow their dreams or remain trapped in mediocrity. Leading yourself begins with understanding that the external world will never shape your destiny. It is the control over your own thoughts, emotions, and habits that forms the foundation of real leadership. When you cultivate self-discipline, you are essentially building the bridge between your potential and your results, because without discipline, potential remains just a dream, an untapped reservoir of possibility that never materializes into achievement. Every successful person you admire has mastered this principle, not because they were naturally gifted, but because they committed to controlling themselves, even when no one was watching. Self-discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you do not feel like doing it, to delay gratification today in order to secure freedom, wealth, and peace of mind tomorrow. It is waking up before your mind convinces you to sleep. It is exercising when your body begs for rest. It is studying when your surroundings tempt you to be idle. It is saying no to distractions and yes to your vision repeatedly, day after day, until your habits become your lifestyle. Discipline is not about punishment. It is about empowerment, about recognizing that every choice you make either leads you closer to your goals or further away from them. If you allow your impulses to govern your actions, you give away your power, handing your life over to chance, to circumstances, to the opinions and actions of others. But when you lead yourself through self-discipline, you become the captain of your own ship, steering it deliberately through the storms of uncertainty toward the harbor of achievement. It is in the small, consistent acts of self-control, choosing to rise early, to focus when your mind wanders, to persist when obstacles appear, that the character of leadership is forged. People often misunderstand discipline as rigidity or deprivation, but true self-discipline is freedom. It is freedom from fear, from chaos, from being tossed about by the unpredictable currents of life. It allows you to say, I am in charge of myself, and therefore I am in charge of my destiny. Without it, even talent, intelligence, and opportunity cannot guarantee success. Because without structure, without control, without the ability to follow through on commitments to yourself, all external achievements are fleeting, fragile, and hollow. Discipline gives you the power to follow through on your intentions, to do what others will not, and therefore to receive what others cannot. It is the difference between a life dictated by circumstance and a life designed by conscious choice, between reacting and responding, between being led and leading. Every decision you make is a test of your discipline, and every test you pass strengthens your ability to lead yourself. The mind will always seek comfort, always resist challenge, always whisper excuses, but discipline trains the mind to obey purpose rather than whims, to serve the vision rather than succumb to fear or laziness. When you master your time, when you master your focus, when you master your impulses, you unlock the greatest form of leadership, the leadership of self. And once you can consistently lead yourself with clarity, commitment, and control, you are no longer at the mercy of circumstances. You are no longer waiting for luck or opportunity. You are creating the life you intend to live. Discipline is a daily practice. It is exercised in the quiet moments when no one is applauding, when no one is watching, when temptation and distraction press against you, and you still choose to stay aligned with your vision. It is choosing integrity over convenience, persistence over surrender, long-term gain over short-term pleasure. It is understanding that the life you desire, the success you seek, the influence you wish to wield, all require that you first master yourself, that you first set the standard for how you think, how you act, how you respond to challenge, and how you hold yourself accountable. The moment you begin to lead yourself through discipline, everything else begins to follow. Because your actions become predictable, your commitments become unbreakable, your character becomes undeniable, and your life begins to operate in alignment with your highest aspirations. Clarity of vision is the compass that guides every action, the unseen map that directs your steps toward your destiny. Without it, life becomes a series of random movements, a patternless drift where opportunities pass unnoticed and potential remains untapped. To lead yourself effectively, you must first know where you are going, because direction precedes momentum, and without a clear destination, energy is wasted and efforts become scattered. Vision is not simply having goals. It is having a precise, vivid, and compelling picture of the life you intend to create, a mental blueprint so detailed that it becomes a magnet, drawing resources, people, and circumstances toward you. When your vision is clear, it acts as a filter for every decision, every choice, every interaction, because you can immediately recognize what aligns with your purpose and what does not. People wander through life making choices based on immediate satisfaction, social pressures, or fleeting emotions, and as a result, they never arrive where they truly want to go. Vision changes everything because it transforms vague desires into focused intention, uncertainty into certainty, and dreams into actionable steps. When you lead yourself, you are essentially saying, I know where I am going, and I will not allow distractions, doubts, or temporary setbacks to deviate me from my path. The mind responds to clarity in a way it cannot respond to ambiguity. When you can see your goal clearly, your subconscious mind begins to work tirelessly to align circumstances and opportunities that support that vision. It begins to recognize patterns, to spot possibilities, and to pull you towards solutions rather than problems. A clear vision gives you resilience. It gives you the ability to persist when the world tells you to quit, when obstacles arise, when fear whispers that you are not capable, because the mental image of what you are pursuing becomes stronger than the temporary discomforts along the way. Leadership of self begins with this kind of vision because you cannot effectively guide your actions, your emotions, or your decisions if you do not know the exact direction in which you intend to move. Every great achiever has held a crystal clear image of what they wanted, and they have allowed that image to dictate their daily habits, their focus, and their priorities. Vision is also the source of motivation, because when you see the life you desire with such vividness, working toward it becomes not a chore, but a compelling, irresistible pursuit. It gives meaning to sacrifice, patience to endure delays, and courage to overcome fears, because it connects your present actions to a larger purpose. People who lack clarity of vision are like ships without rudders, tossed by every wave of circumstance, pulled by every current of opinion, unable to harness the power of deliberate choice. But when you lead yourself with vision, every action becomes intentional, every effort directed, every decision a step toward the life you are determined to create. Clarity of vision also sharpens focus because it defines what is important and what is irrelevant. Time is a finite resource, and without a clear destination, it is easy to waste it on activities that neither enhance your skills nor bring you closer to your dreams. Vision helps you prioritize, helps you say no to distractions, helps you conserve energy for what truly matters, because you know with certainty what is aligned with your purpose and what is not. It is the lens through which every opportunity is evaluated, every challenge is approached, and every success is measured. When you have clarity, confusion disappears, procrastination diminishes, and decision-making becomes effortless because the path is visible, the direction is clear, and the goal is compelling. It is the anchor in times of uncertainty and the engine that propels you forward with consistency and momentum. Leading yourself with vision means taking time to reflect, to define, and to articulate exactly what you want to achieve, why you want it, and what it will take to reach it. It is imagining in detail not just the outcome, but the journey, understanding the skills, habits, and mindset necessary to arrive at your destination, and committing to align every thought and action with that vision. Clarity of vision does not eliminate challenges, but it gives you the power to navigate them with confidence because you are guided by a higher understanding of where you are going, rather than being reactive to whatever happens around you. When vision is present, life becomes a purposeful pursuit, and every step, no matter how small, becomes a building block toward a future that you have consciously chosen, not passively accepted. Responsibility is the cornerstone of true leadership, and it begins with the understanding that the quality of your life is the direct result of the choices you make, the actions you take, and the mindset you cultivate. Leading yourself starts with taking full ownership of every thought, every decision, and every outcome in your life, without shifting blame to circumstances, other people, or past experiences. Many people live their entire lives as victims, waiting for someone else to fix their problems, blaming the system, the economy, or the people around them, and as a result, they remain powerless, stuck in a cycle of frustration and disappointment. But when you embrace responsibility, you reclaim your power. You understand that no one else controls your destiny, that every opportunity, every challenge, every triumph begins with your ability to take charge of your own life. Responsibility is not a burden. It is a liberation because it places the steering wheel firmly in your hands. When you stop blaming others and start focusing on what you can control, you discover that you have more influence over your circumstances than you ever imagined. It allows you to see challenges not as obstacles, but as invitations to grow, to adapt, and to demonstrate the strength of your character. Every time you take responsibility for your actions, you build integrity, trust, and credibility, not just in the eyes of others, but within yourself. You begin to realize that success is not about luck or external validation. It is about consistent choices, disciplined actions, and unwavering commitment to your vision. The moment you accept responsibility, You step out of the passive role of a bystander in your own life and become the active creator of your reality. This shift in mindset changes everything because you no longer wait for permission, for approval, or for the right circumstances. You act, you decide, and you lead from a position of empowerment. Responsibility demands honesty, first with yourself and then with the world around you. It requires confronting your weaknesses, acknowledging mistakes, and taking corrective action rather than making excuses. Most people avoid responsibility because it requires courage, because it forces them to face the truth about themselves and their situation. But those who are willing to embrace it unlock a level of freedom and influence that is impossible to achieve any other way. Leading yourself through responsibility also strengthens your resilience because you are no longer at the mercy of external events. When you understand that your response to every situation is your choice, you gain the ability to maintain control over your emotions, to act strategically, and to persevere through adversity without losing sight of your purpose. Responsibility amplifies accountability. It teaches you that every outcome, whether positive or negative, is a reflection of your decisions and effort. And this awareness fuels continuous improvement. It encourages a mindset of proactive problem solving rather than reactive complaint, of ownership rather than avoidance, and of empowerment rather than dependency. People who master responsibility do not waste energy on regret or blame. They focus on solutions, on learning, on taking the next step toward their goals, because they know that action always leads to progress, while inaction leads only to stagnation. The ability to lead yourself responsibly also influences every relationship and interaction in your life. When you are accountable, others can trust you, follow your lead, and be inspired by your example. Responsibility is contagious. When you embody it, you create an environment where others feel encouraged to take ownership of their roles and contributions as well. It is the principle that separates dreamers from achievers. Because while anyone can wish for success, only those who accept complete responsibility for their life will consistently take the actions necessary to realize it. Responsibility is the foundation for all other forms of leadership because without it, influence is temporary, achievements are fragile, and potential is wasted. It requires courage to face life without excuses, to admit when you are wrong, and to take action even when the path is difficult. But this courage transforms into confidence, capability, and ultimately, results. When you commit to leading yourself with responsibility, you no longer wait for the world to act in your favor. You create your own circumstances, you make your own opportunities, and you shape your destiny with deliberate intention, understanding that the life you desire is not given, it is earned through choices, actions, and an unwavering commitment to owning every aspect of your journey. Emotional mastery is one of the most powerful yet overlooked elements of personal leadership, and it begins with the understanding that your emotions, when uncontrolled, dictate your actions, your decisions, and ultimately the trajectory of your life. To lead yourself successfully, you must first recognize that emotions are not inherently good or bad. They are signals, indicators of what your mind and body are experiencing, and they must be managed wisely, not ignored or suppressed. Most people allow fear, doubt, anger, or frustration to control them, and when emotions are unchecked, they react impulsively, make poor decisions, and sabotage their own progress. Emotional mastery is the ability to observe these feelings without being driven by them, to acknowledge their presence but not allow them to dictate your behavior, and to channel their energy into purposeful, constructive action. When you can regulate your emotional state, you maintain consistency in your habits, focus, and execution, even in the face of adversity, uncertainty, or opposition. Consistent action is the fuel of success, and without emotional control, consistency is nearly impossible because your motivation will fluctuate with your moods. Your confidence will rise and fall based on temporary circumstances, and your energy will be depleted by internal conflict rather than directed toward meaningful pursuits. Emotional mastery begins with self-awareness, the practice of recognizing your triggers, patterns, and reactions. It requires honesty to admit when your emotions are steering you off course, and courage to correct your course before temporary feelings result in permanent consequences. Those who lead themselves understand that emotions are like the wind. They can either propel the sailboat of your life forward or push it into dangerous waters. By mastering your emotions, you harness this invisible force, directing it toward your goals rather than allowing it to drag you into frustration, procrastination, or regret. This mastery does not mean eliminating emotions or pretending they do not exist. It means understanding their source, reframing them when necessary, and using them as tools for insight, motivation, and action. When fear arises, instead of freezing or avoiding challenges, you acknowledge it as a signal that growth is required and you step forward with courage. When doubt surfaces, instead of succumbing to indecision, you use it as a prompt to clarify your plan and strengthen your commitment. When frustration threatens to derail you, you transform that energy into renewed focus, strategic problem solving, and persistent effort. Emotional mastery is the bridge between knowing what to do and actually doing it consistently, because knowledge alone is useless if fear, laziness, or negativity prevents action. Every successful individual understands that life will not always be predictable or easy. Obstacles will arise, people will disappoint you, and circumstances will test your resolve. Without emotional mastery, these challenges become excuses to quit or delays that derail progress. With it, challenges become opportunities to grow stronger, wiser, and more capable. It is also the foundation for resilience, because those who can regulate their emotional response recover from setbacks faster, learn from mistakes without self-condemnation, and maintain momentum even when the environment seems hostile or uncooperative. Emotional mastery affects every area of life: relationships, career, health, and personal growth, because your emotional state influences your communication, decision-making, energy levels, and ability to inspire others. When you lead yourself emotionally, you create a stable, internal environment that allows you to act with clarity, confidence, and determination, regardless of external chaos. This stability becomes magnetic. It attracts opportunities, aligns resources, and inspires cooperation, because people naturally follow those who demonstrate calm, controlled, and deliberate action. Emotional mastery is developed through consistent practice, through reflection, mindfulness, intentional thought, and daily exercises that train your mind to respond rather than react, to choose focus over distraction, and to select productive emotions over destructive ones. It is reinforced by the understanding that your feelings are temporary and manageable, while your decisions shape permanent results. Leading yourself emotionally also means cultivating positive emotions deliberately. Gratitude, confidence, enthusiasm, patience, and persistence, so that they become the dominant influence on your actions, rather than letting fear, anger, or self-doubt take the lead. By doing this, you transform your internal landscape into fertile ground for success, because your thoughts and feelings are aligned with your goals, your habits, and your vision. Emotional mastery is not a luxury. It is a requirement for anyone who desires lasting achievement, influence, and fulfillment. Without it, even the most intelligent, disciplined, or visionary person will be pulled off course repeatedly, sabotaging their potential. But when you lead yourself emotionally, you take control of your responses, your energy, and your focus, and in doing so, you ensure that your actions are consistent, deliberate, and aligned with the life you are determined to create. Self-knowledge is the cornerstone of personal power and the fuel for genuine confidence, and it begins with a willingness to explore who you truly are beyond the masks, expectations, and assumptions that life has placed upon you. To lead yourself effectively, you must first understand your own strengths, weaknesses, values, desires, and fears, because without this awareness, every action you take is like stepping into the unknown without a map or compass. Many people go through life reacting to circumstances and opinions, living in confusion and doubt, because they have never paused to examine themselves, to ask the hard questions, or to confront the truths that shape their behavior and decisions. Developing self-knowledge is a deliberate practice, a commitment to look inward with honesty, curiosity, and courage. It requires examining your thoughts, your beliefs, and your habits to understand why you do, what drives you, and what limits you. When you lead yourself from this place of self-awareness, confidence emerges naturally, because it is built on the foundation of understanding rather than ego or external validation. Confidence that comes from self-knowledge is unwavering because it is rooted in truth. It does not rely on approval from others, on past successes, or on fleeting circumstances. You know who you are, what you are capable of, and where your potential lies, and that certainty allows you to act decisively, even in the face of fear, uncertainty, or opposition. Self-knowledge illuminates your path because it reveals both opportunities and limitations, guiding your choices and ensuring that your actions align with your true purpose and values. It allows you to leverage your strengths effectively while managing or improving your weaknesses, so that your energy is directed toward what produces results rather than wasted on activities that are misaligned with your natural abilities or potential. Understanding yourself also provides clarity in relationships, career, and decision-making, because you know what you want, what you will tolerate, and what you must pursue in order to thrive. When you lead yourself from a place of self-knowledge, you are less influenced by fear, doubt, or criticism because your sense of worth and direction is internally anchored. You do not flinch at setbacks because you understand your capacity to adapt and grow. You do not hesitate to pursue bold goals because you have assessed your capabilities and resources with clarity. And you do not allow the opinions of others to dictate your actions because you are firmly grounded in who you are. Developing self-knowledge also strengthens emotional intelligence because when you understand your own motivations, triggers, and responses, you are better equipped to manage your emotions, communicate effectively, and interact with others in a way that aligns with your purpose and vision. It allows you to recognize patterns in your behavior, both positive and negative, and to make deliberate changes that increase your effectiveness, resilience, and influence. Confidence built on self-knowledge is magnetic because it is authentic. People are drawn to those who know themselves because it signals clarity, stability, and competence. Leaders who understand themselves inspire trust and respect, not through arrogance or force, but through the quiet authority of someone who is aligned internally and capable of guiding their own life with integrity. Self-knowledge also fuels continuous growth because when you understand yourself, you can identify areas for improvement, seek experiences that expand your capabilities, and embrace challenges as opportunities to refine and elevate your skills and character. It transforms fear into curiosity, failure into feedback, and uncertainty into exploration because you know that every experience contributes to a deeper understanding of who you are and what you can achieve. Confidence without self-knowledge is fragile. It is subject to collapse under pressure, criticism, or unexpected change. True, lasting confidence is inseparable from an intimate awareness of your strengths, limitations, values, and purpose. Leading yourself through self-knowledge is not a one-time task. It is a lifelong journey of reflection, assessment, and growth. It requires you to pause regularly, to ask yourself probing questions, to confront uncomfortable truths, and to celebrate progress honestly and without exaggeration. Each insight gained strengthens your ability to make sound decisions, to act with conviction, and to navigate life's complexities with poise and authority. When you cultivate self-knowledge, you are no longer a passive participant in your life, subject to the whims of circumstance or the influence of others. You become an active creator, fully equipped to lead yourself with clarity, confidence, and purpose, and to step into every opportunity with a deep sense of certainty about who you are and what you are capable of achieving. Success is not an external accident or a random reward. It is a direct reflection of the leadership you exhibit within yourself. Every achievement, every milestone, and every breakthrough begins with the ability to govern your thoughts, control your emotions, manage your actions, and align your habits with your highest goals. Leading yourself is the prerequisite to leading others and to manifesting the results you desire in life, because the outer world is always a mirror of your inner world. When your inner life is chaotic, inconsistent, or ungoverned, your external results will reflect confusion, mediocrity, and missed opportunities. Conversely, when you lead yourself with clarity, discipline, and purpose, the world responds with alignment, opportunity, and success. Success is not something to chase. It is something that naturally follows when you become the kind of person capable of producing it. This is why so many people chase wealth, recognition, or achievement, only to find themselves frustrated and empty. They have not yet developed the internal leadership necessary to sustain and attract these results. Inner leadership encompasses self-discipline, emotional mastery, vision, responsibility, and self-knowledge. And each of these elements combines to form a character that is capable of producing consistent, meaningful outcomes. When you take charge of your own life, you are no longer reactive, no longer waiting for external conditions to dictate your results, no longer seeking permission from the world to be successful. Instead, you act from a position of power, certainty, and alignment, and as a result, success flows naturally to you because you have become the kind of person that success cannot ignore. Every external achievement is simply a mirror reflecting the quality of your internal leadership. If your thoughts are focused, your habits are disciplined, your decisions are intentional, and your emotions are controlled, the world will reward you with corresponding results. But if your inner life is inconsistent, driven by fear, indecision, or procrastination, no amount of effort, talent, or opportunity will produce lasting achievement because the external world cannot compensate for internal disarray. Leading yourself requires accountability, courage, and the willingness to confront uncomfortable truths about who you are, what you want, and what it takes to achieve it. It requires a deep understanding that your life is your responsibility and that the results you desire are a reflection of your inner state of leadership. People who consistently experience success are those who have mastered this principle. They have cultivated the habits, mindsets, and emotional resilience necessary to consistently perform at a high level, to navigate obstacles effectively, and to act decisively even in uncertainty. Inner leadership also shapes the way you interact with the world. Your energy, your confidence, your clarity, and your integrity are all projected outward, influencing opportunities, relationships, and collaborations. Success follows naturally because people are drawn to those who demonstrate internal alignment, reliability, and purpose. The world rewards competence, consistency, and the ability to lead oneself because such qualities produce results without external coercion or force. When you lead yourself effectively, you make better decisions, persevere through challenges, and take advantage of opportunities that others overlook. You do not wait for luck or circumstances to improve. You create the conditions for success through deliberate thought and action. Success as a reflection of inner leadership also emphasizes the importance of mindset. Your beliefs about what is possible, your level of self-trust, and your ability to take responsibility for your life shape the results you achieve. When your internal leadership is strong, your mindset is resilient, confident, and solution-oriented, which allows you to navigate setbacks and delays with patience and persistence. Every great achievement in history, every inspiring success story, is ultimately a testament to the power of inner leadership. The individuals who have reached extraordinary heights did so because they mastered themselves first. They disciplined their minds, governed their emotions, defined their vision, and took full responsibility for their lives. The outer results they achieved were not luck. They were the natural reflection of the leadership they exercised within. Understanding this principle changes the way you approach life. It shifts focus from chasing results, from comparing yourself to others, or from hoping for external validation, to cultivating the qualities, habits, and inner alignment that naturally produce success. You learn to invest in yourself, to refine your character, to strengthen your mindset, and to consistently align your actions with your vision. When you do this, success is no longer something uncertain or unpredictable. It is inevitable because it is a natural consequence of who you have become and how effectively you are leading yourself. Every action, every choice, every thought contributes to the reflection that is your external life, and the more intentional and aligned your inner leadership, the more powerful and consistent your success becomes.